Greetings, salutations, respect, and love. I am Scott. You are in the Prog Corner, where today I am doing the top 10 essential prog rock albums. And I am assuming that you have already connected with some of the big name bands. Let's say you're not a beginner anymore. So I am excluding anything from the big six. So there's no Yes today, no Genesis, no Emerson, Lake and Palmer, King Crimson, Pink Floyd, Jethro Tull. So this is almost like, we did our beginner's guide to prog. Now this is the next step. Here are 10 albums, not from the top, six bands in the genre. This is an idea that I stole pretty directly from Andy Edwards' channel. Sorry about that, Andy. Also, Pete Pardo's been doing like 10 albums for a newbie, doing hard rock and prog and doing all different genres. I'm doing the 10 essential prog rock albums for kind of a newbie outside of the big six. And I'm starting at number 10. And yeah, we got to have some representation from Annie Haslam. Yes, Renaissance and Scheherazade and Other Stories. What a fantastic album. It's got that sidelong epic on it. Annie Haslam, one of the greatest voices in prog. We absolutely adore her. And you could argue this is their best album. I personally maybe prefer Novella, but I think for most folks, this is probably their best album and a great entry point if you're not familiar with them. So this is an essential record for any prog rock collection. Absolutely it is at number 9. Yeah, most of these are going to be from the 70s, but I've got this one from the 80s. It's Marillion's third album, Misplaced Childhood. Such a phenomenal record. It's a concept album. It's got the great artwork. Fish would do one more album with Marillion before he left, but I personally think this is the best record with Fish, although Clutching at Straws is really, really close. Some people hate the H era after Fish left. They're wrong. I understand. I didn't like it much either for a long, long time. But Misplaced Childhood, an absolute essential record in any prog collection. Absolutely. At number 8, I'm going with Camel's The Snow Goose. Such a phenomenal record. The only thing that Camel really didn't have that was top tier were the vocals. The first 2 albums had vocals on them, and then this one is just all instrumental, all amazing, absolutely phenomenal record. Just love it. You've got Andy Ward, Doug Ferguson, Peter Bardens, and Andy Latimer, the classic lineup. Absolutely. That's number 8. At number 7 of essential prog rock albums that every prog rock collection must have, or else it's just not any good. It's garbage. How about Crime of the Century? Yeah, you got to have this in your collection. People might argue, well, is it prog or not? I get tired of that debate. It gets old. If it's progressive and I like it, then I'm going to call it prog. Why not? But I try not to make those kinds of distinctions. I basically just go with the flow. And if the majority says it's prog, I go with it, whatever. I have no axe to grind. What I do have is absolute love for this album, their third album. Just fantastic. Cool artwork. You know the band, you know the album. This is their masterpiece. You got to have it. Okay, that was number 7. At number 6, we're going to Italy. I got to throw an Italian record in there for being essential, and I'm going with Musea Rosenbach's Zarathustra. After all is said and done, after all the dust settles, and after I listen to all the RPI my ears can handle, I always come back to Zarathustra as my favorite Italian prog rock album. If you like mellotrons, raspy vocals, distorted guitars, earworms that will stay in your brain for the rest of your life, you could probably do a lot worse than Zarathustra by Musea Rosenbach, released in 1973. Absolute stone cold masterpiece. At number 5 of the 10 essential prog rock albums you absolutely need, not from the big six, I've got Kansas. And yeah, I always talk about Leftoverture or their debut. So today I'm talking a little bit about their great second album, Song for America. And why wouldn't I, man? That title track is the proggiest thing they ever did. If you're like a lot of people, particularly I've noticed a lot of people from the UK that just can't wrap their minds around the fact that Kansas is indeed Prague and that there was prog rock in other parts of the world besides the UK. I know it's crazy, but it actually was true. Then do yourself a favor, sit down with this record, listen to it all the way through, and tell me Kansas isn't Prague. I dare you, I double dog dare you. At number 4 for the top 10 essential prog rock albums, not from the Big Six. Yeah, we got to go with the Canadians, Rush. Their amazing 5th album, absolutely my favorite album from them. I became a fan with 2112, but this was the one that made me a stark raving lunatic for the band, absolutely. And the fact that it's the album that sounds the most like Yes probably doesn't hurt it. Starts out with that Steve Howe-like classical guitar from Alex Lifeson. There's more keyboards in here. It's just phenomenal. I love this album, my favorite Rush album at number 3. Yeah, another band that, maybe takes a little bit of time to get used to and to get acclimated with. It's Vandergraaf Generator. I always talk about Pawn Hearts, so I'm talking about God Bluff today. And again, they're both essential, but, maybe God Bluff is more so in that I think it's just a better balanced album. Undercover Man, Scorched Earth Arrow, and The Sleepwalkers. That's it. 4 songs, 4 amazing tracks. They had gone away for a little while. Peter Hamill was still doing solo albums with the Dudes, so they didn't really go away, technically speaking, but they came back with God Bluff, and what a phenomenal record. An essential piece of vinyl to any prog rock record collection. Absolutely at number 2 for essential prog albums not from the Big Six. It's Mike Oldfield, the album that started Virgin Records. I guess this one and the Gong album came out the same day, but this one gets the 001 version catalog number. It's the one that made Richard Branson a billionaire. Absolutely. Mike Oldfield was just some teenage kid with a big dream and some big ideas, and he plunks this thing down on the world. It's sold like 50 million copies. Everybody knows it. The Exorcist theme and all that, whatever. But, besides that, this is just an amazing album. And I loved Mike Portnoy talking about it the other day. He's like, I just realized that this album doesn't have any drums. That's from a drummer, man. How could Mike Portnoy not possibly have realized? Well, that's just how great this album is that you don't miss what's not there when there's so much amazing stuff that is there. Absolutely. And the number 1 album you need in your prog rock record collection that's not from Yes, Genesis, Emerson, Lake and Palmer, King Crimson, Pink Floyd, or Jethro Tull. Yeah, you know it is, man. It's Gentle Giant. I could have gone with any of their albums. I love Freehand, probably my favorite, and it is probably their most accessible album within, the great prog albums. Giant for a Day was more accessible, but there's very little prog, so I'm going with Freehand. Just the same, On Reflection, that title track, Time to Kill, His Last Voyage, Taliban, and then it closes with Mobile, which is one of my favorite Gentle Giant tracks. Just a perfect album from start to finish. And those are the 10 albums that you need in your collection if you're a prog rock fan. Now, boys and girls, stay tuned tomorrow as I'm talking about a great album that I'm really, really thrilled about. So nice that we had Dave Bandana on the show last week talking about Iron Maiden. Well, his band, the Bardic Depths, released their 3rd album, and we're going to be talking about that tomorrow. And then on Wednesday, if I get all my I's dotted and my T's crossed, we will be ranking the Hawkwind studio albums, all 34 of them, man. I'm working on it right now. It's a big project, but I think I'll have it done in time. So, if not, bear with me anyways. I love you guys. Peace in the Middle East. Hit that subscribe button. Free Tibet and God save the king. Save King Chucky. Even Chucky wants to subscribe to the Prog Corner, but he's not feeling so good, so maybe he can't quite get up there and press that button. But you don't have that same excuse. You hit that subscribe button and you do it right now in honor of King Chucky the Third. He wants you to do it, so you do it. Anyway, punks, I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.